an apple and damson crumble. Simple, delicious, traditional, and all we need is some cooking apples and some damsons. So the first thing we need to do is prepare the apples just simply by peeling them, and then we're going to chop them into pieces, removing the core, and then we're going to cook them in a pan with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of water, just to cook them down so they almost look like apple sauce. I'm just going to cut them into quarters. Just makes it easier for me to get the core out. So once they're in those rough quarterly pieces, I'll just sit them on the board like that. I'll just cut the core out on an angle like that. So now I'm just going to cut these into small slices, and that will just enable them to cook fairly quickly. Alright, now they're ready to go into the saucepan with some sugar and a little bit of water. Okay, so now that the apples are cooking, what we need to do is prepare the damsons. A small plum, they have a small stone in the middle. You can cut them in half and try to remove the stone, but it tends to be that the flesh sticks to the stone. So it's just as easy just to squash it. They're going to break up when we cook them anyway. Just use your fingers and squash the damson and get the stone out that way. I'm not actually going to cook the damsons, I'm just going to mix them in with the cooked apple because they're already quite soft. It'd be quite nice to have some obvious sort of chunks of damson in the crumble as well. So right, that's all the damsons prepared, and I can see now the apple's cooked. We're going to bring the apple over and just mix the damsons through it, and then that'll be ready to put in our little pots, and then I'll show you how we make the crumble topping. Okay, so for the crumble mix, I've got 150 grams of flour, 75 grams of butter, and 75 grams of sugar. And all I'm going to do is crumb the butter into the flour, just like we would if we were making pastry. We're just going to rub it in so it looks like breadcrumbs. Okay, so that's the crummy texture we're looking for, just mixed in like that. And we simply pour the sugar in, mix it through, and that's our crumble top ready to go. Okay, so now I've got the crumble mix on the crumbles. I'm just going to pop them onto a tray. Actually, with the mix I've got left, I can pop that in the tub and pop it in the freezer for next time. There's nothing in there that wouldn't hurt to freeze. With the crumble on the top here, I'm not going to push them down. I want it to be sort of light and fluffy and crispy. If I push it down, it ends up like a piece of pastry on the top of it. So I'm going to stick it definitely in the tray, because I'm sure the fruit bubbles out around the side. So just put it in the tray for that reason. Pop it in the oven for sort of 10 to 15 minutes until that top is nice and golden brown. Have a look in the oven. Oh yes, there we are, lovely light brown on top with some of that fruit juice bubbling out the outside, just as we promised. So be careful, they are very, very hot. So we're going to lift one out onto a plate just to make it easier to handle, and I'm just going to pop a teaspoon on the plate, and there's the apple and damson crumble ready to go.